Unsure of what film to put on? Let's see if your music taste can pick out your next favorite watch. This video will be split into 2 parts, so if your favorite record isn't mentioned, then comment the album down below and I'll try to include it for the next part. Without further ado, here are some of my film recommendations based on your favorite album. Nevermind by Nirvana. Let's match Nirvana's classic sound of frustration with Aronofsky's Mother, a film notoriously known for provoking the audience with overwhelming feelings of isolation, injustice, and despair. Emotions that mirror many of the themes within this album. Insincerity is often condemned in the record, with lyrics frequently reiterating their lust for authenticity in a society that thrives on artificiality. And the brash instrumentals only further depict their intense disappointment with it. Outside of the apparent link to the band, with Kurt Cobain being directly mentioned in the film, Love Exposure's exploration of identity amidst the need to prove yourself mirrors Nirvana's commentary on authenticity itself. And Haneke's Funny Games embodies the violence of the record perfectly, and the violent feelings of dissatisfaction that arise with it. Both films' complex themes and violent approach to depicting them asks the question, how much honesty can you endure? How honest are you with yourself? With their unsettling lyrics and audacious grunge rock sound, this emulates the question Nirvana also asks, how much honesty can we take in the music we listen to? Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, we follow the sound of surf rock, blissful, sweet, and exciting. Following the album's romanticization of melodramatic young love, I'd recommend Paul Thomas Anderson's goofy and bizarre interpretation of puppy love in Licorice Pizza. Watch this to relive that immature yet wholesome nostalgic feeling you get when listening to this timeless record. And if the simple theme of romance and the Beach Boys' spontaneous, silly energy is what you crave, then turn to Breakfast at Tiffany's or The Young Girls of Rochefort. These films cover the search for love that often comes with heartbreak, grand gestures, and, well, just pure chaos. That perfect love might not be realistic, but that's what makes this record and these films great. It might not accurately depict love, but it is a friendly, reassuring reminder that maybe the hopeless romantic's view of love can and might exist. Brat by Charli XCX. And coming on to one of my personal favorites, let's see what films can mirror this image-driven record. Perception is a central theme on this album, a perception of what it means to be an icon while trying to balance the honest version of you that craves something more foundational than that party girl life. Valley of the Dolls embodies that ego, fame-driven self that strives for attention. Tate's character embodies songs like Everything is Romantic and Rewind, while Perkins reminds me of tracks like I Think About It All the Time. And of course, the character of Neely O'Hara and her substance abuse and ego pretty much sums up a lot of the mentions of drugs and jealousy in the record. 360, Sympathy is a Knife, Girl is So Confusing, and so on. So really, Brat is just a modern album interpretation of this classic camp film. The iconic rave culture depicted in Millennium Mambo is the epitome of the record's duality. Vicky, just as Charli, is happily content with her nightlife, but there's a disjointed feel when she returns to her claustrophobic home at the end of the night. Of course, the issues Vicky faces are a bit more physically concerning, but there is still a link between the two. Both live in a depressive awareness of the realistic sides of their life that contradicts their nonchalant club life. Not to mention that the techno sound in the film mirrors the atmosphere of this record's electronic sound. And if you love Brat just for its atmosphere, chaotic, and fun sound, then I recommend Araki's Nowhere. Putting aside the fact that Charli herself will be playing a role in Araki's upcoming film, there's something about Araki's atmospheric, focused approach that is similar to how Charli creates a cohesive feel from the album cover to the titles to the production of the record. Both works create a distinct feel that invites you into a world of stylistically immersive choices whilst also addressing very human and grounded themes. Blue by Joni Mitchell. There's something about folk and singer-songwriter music that reflects the beauty of cinematic scriptwriting. And Joni Mitchell's Blue, though not sonically cinematic, definitely retains that poetic dialogue we watch in the intimate movies we love. Regardless of whether you love the record for the introspective themes of love, loss, and self-exploration, or if it's the simple, cozy instrumentals or her distinct, quirky voice, the films Le Bonheur, Jane B for Agnes V, and Almost Famous best replicate this record's personal and emotional drive. The sadness and thrill of love, the eccentricness, and its introspective nature all mirror the many tracks on this record, notably Almost Famous, where the track River makes an appearance. Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar. And in one of hip-hop's most revolutionary records and another personal favorite, Kendrick explores how the age of adolescence is a much more pivotal and damaging moment in marginalized communities than how it is generally portrayed and received by the majority and the privileged. Let's explore films that take a bold step forward in depicting the reality of coming of age in the parts of the world we rarely focus on. The hit song on the record, Swimming Pool, achieves a rare, masterful feat in discussing the detrimental influence of peer pressure, while simultaneously creating a sonical experience perfect for the club. He creates an anthem that is often played in the very public places he criticizes. This effect is also somewhat accomplished in Hill's mid-90s, where Hill depicts the naive search for approval in older teens that open up a world of damaging addictions. Though Hill approaches the film in a more direct statement of "this is not okay," there is still a level of objectivity that can be often misinterpreted as a romanticization of how cool these vibes are. When we talk about the violence and racial injustice within the record, La Haine is the first film that pops in my mind. If the way Kendrick deconstructs the consequences of violence within the oppressive and racially motivated systems is what interests you, then this film is for you. Drawing back to Kendrick's view on substance abuse and being stuck in generational or self-destructive cycles, I recommend the eye-opening Trainspotting. Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Pairing music's most significant accomplishment is an intimidating job, especially when the record combines one of the most ambiguous genres, prog and psychedelic rock. But here's my best attempt. If albums had a film genre, this record would definitely fall under the category of surrealistic epic films. All That Jazz is a cacophonic exploration of mortality, a theme explored in tracks like Time and The Great Gig in the Sky. Not to mention, the intensity within the film reminds me a great deal of that cathartic high point from that track. The Holy Mountain reminds me a great deal of Pink Floyd, as just artists, a bit odd, concept-driven, and very bigger than life. From the discussion of greed in both works, primarily in the track Money, to the psychedelic feel, to the exploration of sanity, the two just pair well together. Also, watching the film and listening to the album both gave me similar experiences of feeling like I was on acid. Lastly, Woman in the Dunes best reminds me of this film's cynical, manic energy. The madness of the album's production, in which each track's progression gradually becomes crazier, reminds me of the decline of sanity in the characters within this film. So if you're looking for a film that best replicates the increase of tension and a pessimistic outlook on life, try watching Woman in the Dunes. Blonde by Frank Ocean. And finally, one of the albums that best embodies the struggles and sound of our modern time. Frank Ocean's exploration of dichotomy mirrors that of one of cinema's greatest films, Persona. Especially in Bergman's exploration of self-doubt and duality, Persona mirrors so many of the themes poetically dissected within the album. When it comes to the record's depiction of the heart's conflicts and how a struggle with your own identity can interfere with love and your relationships, turn to Y Tu Mama Tambien. This film explores sensuality and sexuality amidst a search for lost identity and the misconceptions of love. As for a surmised cinematic expression of the album, turn to Moonlight. Little needs to be said as to why these two are so interconnected. From male fragility to the heartbreakingly beautiful exploration of sexual identity, to the complicated nature of race, the film and the album feels as though they were created from the same room, same heart, and same mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be a part 2 with more albums such as works from Radiohead, Kanye West, Lana Del Rey, Daft Punk, and more. But if you want your favorite album to be in the next part, comment them down below.